to tell you a little bit about why it would be lovely for you to pursue an LLM degree at Seattle University. So I have some slides that I can share. Let me do that. It will just, I need to okay. So I ask you to indulge me. It's, as you know, coming on the midnight hour over here in Seattle, Washington. And I've given a couple talks today, but this is my last talk before I get to retire for the night. But it's a fun one, and I think we will. I'm here to answer questions as well. So I'm going to talk about this specifically as I know you have, the whole country of the United States to think about in terms of law schools if you want to pursue an LLM here. So why would you pursue one at Seattle U? Seattle University School of Law, we all know, is not perhaps among the top tier law schools in the country. I gave my bio earlier, but I've been, fortunate to have received my JD at Berkeley, the UC Berkeley Law School. I spent a year of my law school career at Harvard, and here I am teaching at Seattle University Law School, living in Seattle with my family, with my two children, Kabir and Karishma, near my family. Why am I living in Seattle? Why have I chosen to practice law in Seattle? And that's a little bit about what we'll be talking about today. So first, why Seattle U? Reputation, excellent, and of course, location, location, location. I did this presentation at one of your colleague schools, Global Jindal Law School, and the Vice Chancellor, Raj Kumar. I just remember him saying, it's like real estate, location, 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 right? So location is important to why Seattle U, and it kind of goes without saying, we are the tech hub of the United States. We have, we host the headquarters of Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Starbucks, Boeing. The opportunities to work with these organizations is one thing. And what I'll talk about in another slide is, the Indian diaspora that you will get to interact with in Seattle that exists because these businesses and corporations are here. And there's such a massive South Asian diaspora here. I think among the biggest cities, there's New York, there's California, but Seattle is among the top 10 places where there are the highest number of Indian South Asians living here. Restaurants and food and cricket. We have a cricket team. It's become a place where I think, unlike I've lived in Seattle for almost 40 years. And in the last 10 years, in the last 20 years, Seattle has become a place where it feels in some ways like you've never left. So that is one reason. Now, what comes with, and this is my slide about the Indian diaspora, what comes with, because we have these tech corporations so close by, we actually offer a specific innovation and technology LLM. We currently have an Indian student who's pursuing an innovation in tech LLM specifically at SU because she chose SU over other law schools. I wish I could have had her here today, but it's a bit late for her and she's studying. But I've had her present with me before, and she talks about how She specifically chose Seattle U for that program. It's one of the few that has such a program named Innovation and Technology, because it helps her get into that field, to have an LLM that actually has that name. So our LLM program, we offer two different tracks. One is the Innovation and Tech track, and the other is our sort of more standard American legal studies track. I'll talk first about the LLM and Innovation and Technology track. So why do students choose this? It can definitely advance your career if that is where you want to land, or if you want to say that you came to Seattle University that has this specific kind of LLM and got it here in a place that is world known to be the hub of tech companies. It can help you fulfill a passion for the law, can help you have global impact, and you get to learn from leading scholars and practitioners. So a number of the classes, which I'll tell you about, that you have to take as part of this LLM program are taught by, we have adjunct professors who come and teach, who are employed at Microsoft, who are employed at Boeing, who are employed at Starbucks, and they are who you get to be mentored by, who you get to learn from, who you might be able to do an internship with. So it's a real opportunity to forge relationships with somebody in that field if you're interested in that field. The courses, here's a sample of the courses that are required for that track: privacy law and managing risks, intellectual property, financial technology, internet law, and digital commerce. So, you know, especially our digital commerce class is definitely one that is very relevant now. And then the LLM in American Studies is, again, I think, you know, it's more for students who I think want to end up practicing here in America, as opposed to getting your LLM and going back to India. So that's the number one reason why you have to study the US legal system. It allows you to become eligible to take the bar exam in Seattle. Now, the student that I mentioned to you who is pursuing her LLM in tech, she also wants to take the bar exam. So she is actually kind of doing both. There's a way for her to double up on her classes. It might take her a little bit longer, 6 months longer, but she's able to take the classes she needs in order to take the bar and do all the classes required for the LLM in tech and innovation. Required classes here are your basic, you know, constitutional law, civil procedure, legal writing and research, professional responsibility, introduction to the American legal system, everything that is going to be tested on the bar exam and also going to help you in your practicing of law here. The application process, you know, you need the minimum requirements to be able to apply are a JD or LLB or equivalent first degree in law. There's an English proficiency test, but there's also a waiver for that. The application form is available at this link. It only requires a short personal statement and 3 names and contacts of references. You don't actually need the reference letters. You just need names. Here's the address to which you send it. And then we need the official transcript and proof of your degree. So it's not too complicated an application process. The tuition, I know this is the main slide that everybody's waiting for. Now that, you know, it's definitely not a small amount of money, but unfortunately it is actually less than most law schools. So that's something. There's some partial scholarships that are available. I'm going to talk a little bit more about what I do with the India Center for Law and Justice that is hoping to try to create even more scholarships. I'll talk about that next. So this is sort of how the tuition is broken down by credit. A few more specifics about how it works. So it's 9 to 12 months. Like I said, if you did want to do a dual, if you wanted to do both the innovation in tech and be able to sit for the bar, it would probably be more like 18 months. You can start in the fall or you can start in the spring. We have a semester system. I think you might also, 2 semesters, about 15 weeks in length. So the deadline for the fall is on May 15th, so there's still plenty of time. Summer study is available and optional, so you can make it happen quick if you want to. Now I get to talk to you about my favorite thing, which is another reason why you might be interested in coming to Seattle University School of Law over some of the other law schools, in addition to the diaspora that we have and the tech hub that we are and the innovation in tech LLM track that we offer. We also are the only law school in the country. Yes, we are. I can say that. We are the only law school in the country that has an India center, a center focused on India and the comparative study of India and the United States. So a little history about this. Professor Sheetal Kalantri, who used to teach at Cornell University Law School, she has moved to Seattle, and we have become, as they say, fast friends. And she, here's a little bit of her story. She has invited me to work with her on this center. So here's a little bit of the story of why this center exists. As you know, the largest democracy in the world. India has a rich constitutional tradition that lends itself to comparative legal studies. India and United States share a common law system, pluralistic, democratic, language. Until 2019, there was no law school in the United States that had a center focused on the study of Indian law. And then, like I mentioned, Professor Sheetal Kalantri started such a center. It was called the India Center for, I think it was called the India Center for Law at Cornell. And then she moved it to Seattle University, where it sort of added the name and justice in 2021, which is when I joined. So what is our mission? The center is dedicated to promoting the comparative study of Indian law and policy in the United States, in the U.S. Legal Academy, advancing policy projects that further human rights and social justice in India and the United States, I should say, supporting emerging Indian law scholars. I'll say more about what that means in a minute. So the first, promoting the comparative study of Indian law and policy in the United States Legal Academy. We host speaker series. We have a podcast that is dedicated to the comparative analysis of U.S. and Indian laws. And earlier this morning, I talked about a student that we actually are working with in India, who's partnering with my research assistant here, and together they are putting together a podcast where they interview an expert. They're focusing on surrogacy laws. They're interviewing an expert in India and then an expert here in the United States, and we'll engage them in a conversation. Our podcast gets lots of downloads, almost 45 downloads a month, which is pretty good. One of the things that we do, we host comparative constitutional law workshops that bring together law students from SU and Indian law schools. We publish brief summaries of landmark Indian Supreme Court cases, and those are also available on our website, which I'll give you at the end. The second thing that we do with respect to policy projects that further human rights, Professor Kalantri has a background in international human rights. So she has worked with her students to make these contributions. And my favorite part is how we support emerging law scholars. So we have created a fast track dual degree program. We've started this with Global Jindal Law School, Jindal Global Law School, sorry. And we have our first candidate that will be applying for that. So you will understand what this means, but it's a dual track program that allows you to get both an Indian law degree and a JD in 2 years less time than it would otherwise take. We provide opportunities for mentorship, research assistantships, and internships for Indian students who are pursuing their degree here. So if you were getting your LLM here, or if you were in the JD dual degree program, I already mentioned that I work with a few students on the podcast, but I also, our LLM student is also a research assistant of mine, and she not only helps with the podcast, but she also comes with me to presentations like this. And here is my favorite one, which I'm hoping to do more work on. And Professor Clancy and I are working hard right now to fundraise so that we can create more financial resources to support scholarships for Indian law students and be able to make that tuition amount less. We know that there are a few law schools in the country that do provide more financial support, and we really want to be one of them. So we think it's doable. There's, as I mentioned, a very large Indian diaspora here. There are a lot of tech billionaires here. We have been meeting with many of them. I have a meeting with one of them this Friday. So the goal is for us in the future, and it looks bright, that we will be able to bring in resources to be able to provide more scholarships for Indian law students. And we also promote engagement with India among future lawyers by sending students, often ABCD law students like myself, to India to conduct research on human rights projects there. So, here's our contact information of the center, but I encourage you to take a look at, you can Google India Center for Law and Justice, and you will see our website and you will see our contact information there as well. But I think the point with this India Center is, your experience while you're here is important, and how you feel supported across the globe. You will be supported at the law school. You will have a place to come where you will be able to continue to feel connected to India, if that is something that you want. So, like I said, we're the only law school in the country that has something like this. And for me, it's been a lot of fun to be part of it. So that's the end of my presentation. I'll stop sharing here, but I'll open it up for questions now. But this is my pitch for you all to consider SU as you're considering other schools to pursue an LLM. And like I said, if there's, your administration is interested in talking to our administration about the dual degree program, that is something that we're entering into with a number of law schools in India. So it's something that I can definitely follow up with our dean and our vice dean about. So I'll stop.
So we are waiting for the students' queries to come. No, I am just passing on a message to you from our dean and director. She had to rush to an emergency meeting in the university. She so much wanted to be here. And she also asked me to look out for a possibility of memorandum of understanding between the two universities, leading to joint seminars or looking for a student exchange program and other issues. Yeah.
Yes, we can. We'll absolutely. We can definitely talk. And I know Professor Clancy, we've been doing this with a number of schools, and even for me to come present at your international, or to have a faculty representation for your international teaching month every year is, I know, something that I would welcome. So we should definitely follow up. And if there's interest in our dual degree program as well, that's something that she can learn more about. So we can have more conversations for sure.
Thank you.
Mhm. Any questions about the cricket team? I actually don't know how good the cricket team is, but I've been told they're quite good. So I will tell you a little other nugget. You know, Professor Kalantri, who was at Cornell, I wish you were here because a large part of why she moved from Cornell to Seattle was because of the Indian community here. And, you know, in Ithaca, for those who know, Cornell is located in Ithaca, which is sort of a very remote part of New York State. It's not in New York City. So it's, you know, she says there's lots of, you know, it's like in a farmland. There's not very many people, let alone Indian people, to come for her to be able to now move to Seattle and be able to meet other Indians and engage with the Indian community. When she came here, the first thing she said is, where's a good dosa restaurant? So I think it's important. It's important to your, you know, to one's mental health as well, to feel like you're connected. So yes, I see a question. I see some questions.
So Netra asks, do they offer summer program? And if they do, what's the curriculum and duration for that?
So summer, I see that's a different question. So summer program for the LLM, for an LLM specifically, or any kind of
I guess so. I mean, she's asking about LLM because she is currently in the second year of her undergraduate law course here. Yeah.
So my understanding is that the LLM, there are, you know, you couldn't just get your LLM in the summer, but you have to start either in the fall or the spring, but you can take classes in the summer. So depending on which track you're on, some of those classes are offered in the summer, especially the American Legal Studies track. A number of those classes we do offer SU, because SU is such a big school. And that's also something for you to think about. We have summer classes. We have online classes. There's more. We have a faculty that is able to work all year round. But you would have to start either in the fall or the spring.
So our student Akanksha Dave, she is in the 8th semester, if I'm right, in our undergraduate law program. She says, hello, ma'am. Is there any criteria requiring prior experience before applying to LLM program? I think she means any prior work experience.
Yeah, no, not at all. So the LLM student that we do have does have prior work experience, but it is not required.
Prakhar, if it's not difficult for you to type your question in the chat box, you can do that. I mean, I can see you have raised your hand. Or if that's not possible, then I'll unmute you and you can pose your question directly. Okay, Prakhar, so I'm unmuting you. You can ask your question. Yeah. Digant bhai, can we unmute Prakhar? Prakhar Gupta.
Sir, Prakhar is already right.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, it's not working. It's okay.
Yeah, it's not working.
And again, you can always feel free to send me email me questions. And it does sound like, you know, it would be worthwhile for us to have a conversation with the dean, and we can also, you know, send information that way. But I do see another Rashmi has.
Yeah, Rashmi. Yeah. Yes, Rashmi. Go ahead. Yeah. You're not audible. Digant bhai, can we unmute her?
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Well, I'm doing a PhD in Nirvan University. My question is some different. I want to know that is any scope for us who has already done PhD, who has already done LLM from this Nirvan University, and we are pursuing PhD in Nirvan University. So, is any another scope in your university? Is any?
I think she means any post-PhD fellowships or programs that Seattle offers, law school offers. I think that's what she's interested in. Yeah.
Do we have any postdoc programs? I think we do, but I don't know for sure. So I'm so sorry, Rashmi. I wasn't able to hear you very well. But if that was the question, if there's opportunity to do postdoc research at SU, at Seattle University, I believe the answer would be yes, but I can confirm that for you. But that's a great question. Congratulations on all of your effort. Well, like I said, please, feel free to send any questions that come up my way, and I will make sure we have a director of our director of our LLM program is not here, and she also can, I can send any questions her way, and she's very good on email, and we'll get back to you.
We just wait for another, say, 2-3 minutes if the question comes in, and then, yeah.
Okay, well,
I know you are terribly tired and exhausted. I mean, Shreya told me that it's almost midnight there in Seattle.
Yes,
so, yeah.
it is, but that's okay. This is lovely. I'm a night owl. Maybe some of your students are also. I think I prefer night to early morning. So this is better. This is okay. Yeah. And for me, like I said, while people are still thinking, I'll conclude with my thoughts with, this Zoom moment that we're in is so powerful that I can be in my home in Seattle, Washington, and be conversing with such a wonderful group of students across the globe in India. So it's a treat for me. I'm never too tired.
I think probably they would write you their concerns.
Yeah, please do.
We'll forward those emails to you. Yeah. So.
And you all are my inspiration, because like I said, I'm going to these various meetings to do fundraising, and it's you all that I have in my mind.
So one of our students, Netra Singhmar, is suggesting possible ways of collaboration. I mean, students are so keen. It's really good to see that they suggest us some interesting ways, how can we collaborate. So she says, it is my humble request, and if it's feasible for Seattle University to conduct an orientation program for the undergraduate students, here to know how would it be studying and living in Seattle, or maybe conversation between students.
Yes, brilliant idea. And like I said, I'm regretting that I didn't ask, her name is Bhavya, to accompany me today. So I think it would be, and when I did have her, it was wonderful. And she, I think can share with you her own experience of, I invited her to the earlier one, but I knew this one would be quite late. But I would love that. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a wonderful idea.
So Aditya, one of our students, says semester exchange programs would be good for a first-hand experience, a proper credit-based set exchange program. It would open ample amount of opportunities for our juniors. I mean, he says that for students who are in second, third, fourth semesters,
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yes, we have definitely had some interest in that. We also have, we have a summer, in the summer, we have an immersion course that is also available. And we've had some Indian students who are interested in taking a course in the summer. So that's something you can think about. Um, so, reach out if that's of interest to you. There's definitely opportunity for just taking classes, getting to have an experience, if there could be credit exchange so that you can get credit for it. So these are all things that we could put in that MOU that I think would be wonderful collaborations between our universities.
So thank you so much, Dr. Kashyap, for being here and taking time out from your busy schedule. As we already know, it's midnight there in Seattle. So thank you very, very much for being here. We have been extremely delighted to have you here, and we look forward to all the possible ways of collaborating and having student and faculty exchange seminars and also all such kinds of beautiful ways of collaborating with the Seattle Law School. So on behalf of Institute of Law and my university fraternity, I say thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your approach to legal education. It's an honor.
Thank you.
All right. Good night. I will say good night. And I will see you when I see you.
See you.
Okay.
So long. Yeah, here's to say. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So Digant bhai, we can end.